Hello, welcome to the Film Pulse podcast, the official podcast of filmpulse.net. Thank you so much for listening. This is episode number 179. My name is Adam Patterson. With me today, we have Kevin Rakestraw. How you doing there, Kevin?
Doing pretty good.
This week, we'll be reviewing Alex Ross Perry's latest, Queen of Earth, as well as the indie comedy Slow Learners. I feel like every week we do something and then an indie comedy.
Got to get those indie comedies.
Of course, we'll also be going over some of what we've been watching, this week's movie predictions, new on video on demand, DVD and Blu-ray releases. If you're watching us on the live stream, welcome. I'll try to keep an eye on the chat, so feel free to join in on the conversation. Before we jump into our first review, I want to give a quick shout out to our latest Patreon subscriber, Super Goof Media. If you want to help support Film Pulse, please consider heading over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/filmpulse and show us some love. We have a lot of great things planned, but we can't do it without your help. We appreciate that so very much. Let's go ahead and get right into our first review. We're talking about Queen of Earth. So this is written and directed by Alex Ross Perry. Stars Elisabeth Moss, Catherine Waterston, Patrick Fugit, and Kentucker Audley. Now, Kevin, you're the Perry fan here. I
thought you were a big Perry fan as well.
Well, I'm a pretty big Perry fan, but I think you're a bigger Perry fan.
Making assumptions, huh?
I am.
Be careful.
A little bit.
Be careful with those assumptions.
So we'll start it with you. We do have a review coming out for this next weekend. This comes out in New York next weekend, and then I think LA the following weekend, and then it's going to start a nationwide release after that.
It'll be on iTunes Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So you got that too.
Well, there you go.
In the comfort of your home.
Yeah. Let's get the synopsis going for this before we dive into it. Two women who grew up together discover they have drifted apart when they retreat to a lake house together.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's correct, but sure.
I'm not really sure about that, but let's start it with you, Kevin. What did you think of Queen of Earth?
For the most part, I enjoyed it. I don't think it's Perry's best work. It is and it isn't, I guess I should say. I think like the actual filmmaking of Queen of Earth might be some of his best. Like the actual execution, the style, the atmosphere, everything he's going for. But the script itself, it's not his best. And it just, the performances are fantastic. Moss and Waterston are great. Even Fugit is pretty good, which that was a surprise. I wasn't expecting him to be in it this much.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I think he just, the way of what the narrative actually is, I think he just tips his hand way too early. And then we spend so much time, like in the middle section of the film, like trying to draw out, like, I guess, intrigue or whatever he's trying to do. But you already know what's happening. So it just kind of gets monotonous after a while. And then finally, when it comes to the end and you have that kind of like quiet revelation of, what was going on, it just didn't really have the impact that I think he was going for.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, actually, on this. I did like it. I thought that it looked amazing. Right off the bat, that title card pops up, Queen of Earth, bam. I was like, yep, I'm sold. Yep. I'm sold. Here we go.
I am on board. Let's do this.
I don't know what he used to shoot this, if it was like 16 millimeter or something. It looked like older film stock, but I loved it. I loved the look. It had this kind of vintage feel to it. It looked like a 70s style, throwback thriller.
Yeah, I think it is 16 millimeter.
Yeah.
You got Sean Price Williams cinematography to go with it, which, man, that guy can shoot on film.
Yeah, I mean, it
looks great.
It looks gorgeous. The whole film pretty much takes place in this lake house, and great location. The house was awesome. The surrounding environment was awesome. I don't necessarily like movies that go down this road of someone slowly descending into madness. I'm not really into that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that I dislike all psychological dramas or thrillers, but this specific narrative that pops up from time to time, not a huge fan.
Well, it's kind of, for the most part, it's played out.
Yeah, But I thought that Perry really handled this in an entertaining way. But like you said, it does drag a bit in the middle. And the people in this movie, every character is so unlikable. Now, I know that they're designed to be that way, but they were so abrasive towards one another the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so funny because it was like every single character could completely turn on a dime. They'll be having a conversation, and it'll seem pretty light, you know? They're just joking around with each other, and then bam, like... And it even started happening with the character of Rich, played by Patrick Fugit. Like, he was okay one second, and the next second he's just an awful human being who you hate.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that that's a negative. Of just an observation I made about this film. The kind of shaky psyche of each of these people. It's like, I don't know. The whole movie was designed for them to get to, or for Elisabeth Moss's character to get to this lake house to kind of decompress and relax. But it seemed like everything about it made her even more on edge.
Well, that's why, because you're trying to think of a way to discuss that without kind of, because how do you not spoil it? It's kind of,
well, judging, if you've seen the trailer for this, you kind of know where it's going. You kind of know how it's gonna play out a little bit, because they definitely allude to things in the trailer.
Yeah.
But,
and I said, it tips its hand a bit too early when you have Watterson saying, I forget exactly what she says, but, it's like, we should switch places.
Mm-hmm.
Something along those lines. And that's kind of what I'm talking about, is you have that, and it's like, oh, okay, so, because, we're going from last year, and it keeps shifting between last year at the lake house to this year at the lake house, and you see how they kind of switch places and what's happening.
Right.
So you know what's going on, and then that's kind of the issue that I had during that dragging middle is like we already know what's happening. Why are we spending so much time here? Because I don't think we're really building anything.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like we're kind of losing steam instead of building.
Yeah.
At least that's the way I saw it.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, you finally get to the end, and you have that little revelation about what how it ended last year at the lake house, and you're like, well, yeah, that's kind of what I thought. It just didn't really seem to have the impact that he was going for. And then the whole thing, the little bit with Keith Poulsen,
mm-hmm.
Finding him out on just laying out in the yard,
passed out. Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't work for me.
Yeah. Well, that added to the tension of this movie for me. And the thing about this movie is there's this layer of tension that is ever present. It never leaves. You know that there's something going to happen. Something could happen at any moment. At any moment, she could completely break, and the level of tension between all of these characters is so palpable.
Yeah,
the whole thing.
There's that seething undercurrent of animosity,
and with the
entire thing that you just know that they quietly hate the shit out of each other.
Yeah. And with the Keith Poulsen scene, especially, and this is in the trailer, so it's not a big spoiler, she says, I could kill you right now. No one would know. And just at that moment, you're like, oh, boy.
I do. Okay, I guess I should say that I do kind of like the way Perry plays with that then, where she's all jovial and really upbeat and stuff, and she has the headband wrapped around her wrist. Mm-hmm. And you don't see Poulsen for a while, and you're like, what? Yeah. What the fuck happened? What happened there?
Yeah. So this is definitely, I'd say it's somewhat of a departure from his last two movies. This is not a comedy whatsoever. I would consider his last two movies to be comedies. Yeah. And this definitely is definitely not that.
No, there's not a lot of funny bits in there.
But I will agree with you when I say I don't think it's his best film. I wouldn't, but, that's kind of a tall order at this point, right?
Yeah.
Because I loved his last two, so...
But again, saying it's not his best film, but it's still a good film.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
The only other issue that I had as well is the beginning. I did love the Keegan DeWitt score.
Mm-hmm.
She did an amazing score for Listen Up, Philip. And I enjoyed it here because it is old school. And then you have the old school cinematography too, where like the camera is slowly encroaching on everyone's personal space. Like
Mm-hmm.
every single
Mm-hmm.
scene is just slowly coming in.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it because DeWitt's score plays pretty much incessantly throughout the entire film. But during that dragon middle, it became too much of a forefront where it started to become irritating. Because like I said, we weren't really building anything there. We were just kind of losing steam. And then you have, it kind of switches on you where you're like, I really enjoyed this score, but I'm slowly becoming increasingly tired of it
Mm.
as it goes on.
Yeah, that didn't. I don't know. That didn't really bother me too much.
And I think the only reason it bothered me, I think, is because my the interest level that I had for what was going on screen, and the narrative and everything, kind of waned.
Mm-hmm.
So then, everything else kind of started to pop out, and maybe became a little bit more critical than I would have been if it would have held my interest.
Yeah.
Would have glossed over it probably.
I want to talk a little bit about the performances. Fantastic performance from Elisabeth Moss in this. I mean, she always does a great job, but I feel like with this role, she had to bring a lot to it, and I think that she completely nailed it.
And to put that as the opening,
Oh yeah,
the opening scene of
Yeah.
her just really reels you in.
yeah, and I thought that Catherine Waterston did a great job too. And if you remember back when we reviewed Inherent Vice, you really liked her performance in that, and I did
Oh,
not.
she was fantastic in that, I thought.
See,
I mean,
I wasn't really into her performance in that, but in this, I thought she did a fantastic job.
Yeah, she was great. I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot of her.
Yeah, definitely. And again, like you said, Patrick Fugit.
Huge.
Haven't seen him in a while. I feel
Yeah, where's
bit.
he been?
it's been a little bit, but I thought he did a pretty solid job too. Ken Tucker oddly in there, little cameo. Caitlin Shields in there for the party scene, which was I liked the party scene quite a bit because at first you didn't even know if it was real or not. You're like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
It's true, yeah. Which I'm so glad that he didn't go down that route.
I was worried.
I was really, really worried.
I was worried.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yep. I was worried about that. So.
But man, I don't know. There's things to like, but there's also an equal number of things that I don't like. I think the performances from Moss and Watterson sort of carry it for you. That you're able to get through some of the well, at least for me to get through some of the issues that I have with this.
It's interesting. I'm just glancing over my Letterboxd list this week, and I've seen 3 movies that involve people descending into madness. maybe that tainted my feeling about this a little bit.
It definitely could have, because it is one of those things that it's just a bit much, isn't it?
Yeah.
Man, that was big in the 60s, 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of making a comeback, kind of the existential crisis type deal, but then just sort of tipping over the edge.
I'm okay with it as long as it brings something to the table,
Yeah.
I believe that strong performances alone in that type of role are not enough to carry it at this point.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of times that's sort of the excuse for that narrative, is it really gives that person, whoever's playing that character, really gives them the ability, like a showcase to shine.
Yeah.
Because you get to kind of play so many, like a wide range of emotions and stuff.
Also, if we're going to see a movie like this, and this is just personal preference, I always prefer to see this in a comedy setting, like Blue Jasmine.
Gotcha. And it is interesting that doesn't it always seem like it's predominantly women that are going into madness?
Yeah, usually.
And then they're usually directed by men. So gives you a little insight there of how men see women. But I did enjoy Waterston reading like Zimmerman's books.
Mm-hmm.
I like that little nod. I thought it was a bit too cute that she's reading Madness and Women.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a bit much.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, all right.
Like, we already fucking know, Perry. Come on.
I like it. I like the little threads, the little connecting threads that he puts into his
Well,
movies.
well, then the other thing is because of that, so on the nose with the madness of women, it made me think about the hers potato chips. I'm like, did he pick hers because it's two women? Is
Oh
that why he
God,
went with hers? Because I really
no,
hope that he didn't do that.
no. That would be pretty
Unless he did it as a
egregious.
stupid joke, which
I don't
still
know.
I don't know, but
I hope he didn't
she
do
there was
that.
she ate a lot of hers.
Oh yeah, there was like
It's just nothing but
I don't know
hers.
where
That
you
was like
would
her
even.
entire diet.
Yeah,
It's probably why she went crazy.
maybe that was one of those lake towns, lake house towns where there's one little general store that's 5 miles away,
And that's all you can get.
and
They
all
only
all they
stock
really have is Funyuns and pork rinds and Hearst potato chips.
single serving hers bags,
It's a
which I
Chicago
couldn't.
fiber.
I mean, that sounds like a nightmare. Having the only being able to eat hers potato chips. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Hearst potato chips.
No, fuck hers.
I'm definitely more of an Utz or Martin's kind
You
of
gotta
guy.
go Utz or Martin's. Come on.
Definitely. All right, let's go ahead and give this movie a score. I will say, this is a toughie.
Tough one.
I'm somewhere between a 7 and a 7.5 on this right now. I'll say 7.5.
I'm gonna go seven. Go seven.
There you have it. Queen of Earth in select cities this coming weekend, and apparently on VOD Wednesday. I wasn't aware of that.
Hooking you up.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into our next movie, talking about Slow Learners. This is directed by Darren Argett and Sheena M. Joyce. This stars, pull it up here,
Who's a star?
Adam Pally and Sarah Burns. That's the name.
Sarah Burns.
I have a synopsis here. Jeff and Ann, two close friends and co-workers, are embarrassingly unlucky at love. They hatch a plan to transform themselves over the course of a sex and alcohol-fueled summer. This opened in limited release in VOD August 19th, so you can check this out right now. It's available on YouTube and Google Play and several other streaming. It's not on Amazon. Oh, wait, no, it is on Amazon, sorry. You can see it on Amazon Instant Video. It was one of those deals where I searched for it on Amazon and it didn't show up.
Oh, don't you love that about Amazon? Like Amazon, seriously, figure it the fuck out.
And it's like I type in
I don't know
slow
how many
learners.
Yeah, you type in the exact wording of the title, doesn't show up. I don't know how many times that's happened.
Because I knew it was out. I knew that it was out and I typed in Slow Learners and Slow Learners movie and it still didn't show up. So then I did just a Google search for Slow Learners, and then over on the right side it shows where it's available, and I saw it was on YouTube, and I was like, screw it, I'll just rent it on YouTube. Anyway, Slow Learners, I'll start this one off. I really liked the first act of this movie before they made their transition into the badasses.
Yeah.
I thought that this was probably, I would say, borderline hilarious. I would compare this to Trainwreck. I know you haven't seen Trainwreck,
Yeah.
but those of you that have, I would compare it to Trainwreck, only I laughed a lot more for this movie than Trainwreck.
There's a lot of good just discussions.
Yeah, a lot of
Irreverent
quotables.
discussions.
A lot of quotables in this. And the reason that I say that I liked the first act a lot more is because I just thought it was funnier. I thought that it was way funnier before they transitioned into the badass version of themselves.
Yeah.
And just like the first scene at the book club with Bobby Moynihan and just all of that stuff. I thought that the characters, Adam Pally was hilarious in this.
Yeah, him, Bobby Moynihan, and Gil Ozeri. Those three guys in their book club, and especially just Moynihan and Ozeri together because of the later scene when they're in the hallway.
Oh yeah. And they're just hanging out in the hallway.
Yeah, I could watch those two guys just talk. Rickless. Or was it Rickless?
Rickless.
Oh god.
The opening scene of the movie when he's on the date with the woman.
I knew, yeah, and she's describing,
Oh,
because he just finally, he can see that this is going nowhere, and she
Yeah.
doesn't really do a good job of trying to get out of that date. And he just, be honest with me, just let me know what's wrong. And the fact that they just keep the camera on him as she's saying,
Yep. And he has
and
that.
you're just kind of like, damn, that's like spot on.
Yep.
Especially how she's saying that you smelled something,
Yeah.
because he looks exactly like that.
She said, "You look like you're apologizing for your existence."
And then I don't know if this was it actually in the movie, or was it part of the end credits where she was saying that, like, when he responds, that it's like a question.
Oh yeah, I think that was in the end credits.
Everything was spot on with the description of him.
Oh, it was so funny. I was just, and what a way to start off a movie like that, because I was rolling within the first 5 minutes.
Well, then even Adam Pally his character, when he stops over at his parents' house,
Yeah, that was
it's just
the
the discussion that they have.
I'll go get the balloons a quarter of a month from now.
There's just so many good discussions, throwaway lines and stuff. Everything's great, pacing's great. But then, like you said, when it gets into this, he turns into like an Ed Hardy type.
Yeah.
And she turns into, like a slutty bad girl, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It just all kind of falls apart.
Yep. It's unfortunate too, because it starts off so strong.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know, the comedy, at least for me, the comedy just started to dip. And it recovers a little bit, but
Yeah, there's still some stuff here and there, but yeah, the quality really sinks because it's all kind of cliched.
yeah, of course. I mean,
Like he just turns into a super huge douchebag,
Mm-hmm.
and for some reason he starts getting chicks like crazy,
Yeah, oh yeah.
which I don't know, just didn't work for me.
There were a couple things. I liked the scene when they first kind of met each other after they'd been apart for like a month, and they met in the bar, and she kept chewing on the stuff. He goes, "Why are you chewing on all that weird shit?"
I did like his comment about darts when
Yeah.
he got into the fight. But yeah, just really so unfortunate.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, because this is a movie where it's a rom-com. You know exactly where it's going to go before the movie even starts.
Yeah, yeah.
Two friends trying to date and meet other people. I mean, you know exactly how it's going to turn out.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
you can map this shit out just by looking at the poster.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that in these types of movies, because it can really only go one of two ways. They either get together at the end or they don't,
Yeah.
And the whole point of this movie was that they were trying to be people that they weren't, and they turned into assholes when their right match was in front of them the whole time. And so that's fine. I'm okay with that. It's just that the big problem, like we said, the comedy just drops. It just drops off after they turn into these terrible people. For the most part, it drops off. I mean, like we said before, there's bits and pieces
Yeah,
here
there's
and
a
there.
couple throwaway lines, and like I said, that when they're waiting around for the book club in the hall, Ozarian Moynihan.
I love how he puts the photo under the door, and then the other one does it again.
And I don't know why, but just the sound of Azari's voice just made me laugh.
Yeah. Yep.
But-
Overall, though, I was pretty pleased with this movie. I thought it was pretty funny. I thought that, for me, Adam Pally knocked it out of the park as far as his character. I thought that he was the funnier of the two, but Sarah Burns did a great job too.
Yeah, she was good. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it did its job. I mean, it entertained me, made me laugh.
Again, I will say,
I didn't. I'm not looking back on that hour and a half and wishing, Jesus Christ, give it back to me, please.
it was less generic than several of the other romantic comedy indie comedies that we've seen in recent weeks.
Yeah, well, and the other thing I noticed too is, do you think that this is going to be a new thing where Kate Flannery is going to play nothing but principals
Yeah.
for the rest of her life?
Yeah. She's the perfect principal character.
I know. That's unfortunate for her. I mean, she does a great job of it, though.
Oh yeah, she's funny.
That's probably part of the problem. Because now, probably now when you're casting a movie, and you're like, who should we get to play the principal?
Yeah, who do we need to get like a
first
funny
name that's
principal?
thrown out there?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, whatever works.
The other thing is do you think that because I've been waiting for this and I've been wondering when it's going to happen and it finally showed up in Slow Learners is how often we're going to see jokes about vaping.
Oh yeah,
Do you think that's going to be the new improv?
Yeah, because vaping there's a stigma to it. There's unfortunately people look at it as a douchey thing. People are douchey that vape. So it's only a matter of time. There was a couple that movie The Mend I think has vaping in it, and there's True Detective has some vaping in it, and they talked about it. The new season of True Detective.
It's upon us.
We're gonna see more of it, I'm sure. And there's always going to be a negative connotation to it, which is unfortunate because
it's just going to be one of those types of things where it's a low hanging fruit.
Yeah,
like kind of like I said with the improv. There's always jokes about improv and improv. Taking improv classes.
Yeah, I think we'll see more of that, which is it's unfortunate because I do vape and I use that as a tool to quit smoking cigarettes. So. I don't mind when they make fun of it because what he was doing in that movie, I would make fun of somebody that did that.
Yeah, I would hope anyone would make fun of
because it's ridiculous.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought it was kind of funny, especially how they did it in slow motion with him trying to look all cool with this fucking blue light coming on.
Jeez.
Yeah, overall, I would say it is worth a look. I think it's worth a rental for sure. I actually liked it more than Trainwreck. I'll say that.
There you go. I haven't seen Trainwreck, but I can venture a guess that I probably would like it more than Trainwreck.
Well, like
just
I said,
because I know how long and bloated Trainwreck is going to be.
Yeah, but see, it's interesting though because I don't know this for sure, but I'm assuming that there was a lot of improv in this movie. There was a lot of ad-libbed lines, and you can always kind of spot those, where it's always the setup. Like, you look like a blah, 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 and they rattle off things. And you can always tell that these are, like, off-the-cuff things, and that's similar to what they do in Apatow movies. So I do see similarities between this and, like, an Apatow movie.
Yeah.
But I just laughed more. I thought Trainwreck was funny, don't get me wrong, but for some reason, with a lot of the recent Apatow movies, and even the Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg movies, I find them funny, but they don't make me laugh out loud.
Yeah, kind of like they're clever.
Yeah, they're enjoyable, they're entertaining.
They're not outright humorous.
Exactly. So, this one did. I was laughing very, very hard at a lot of this. So, if you want to laugh...
I burst into a series of chuckles. With Moynihan and Rosario when they were in the hall. I could watch that again right now.
The fact that his name is Lenny, too. That whole conversation.
And the way he says it, they kind of pointed out, too. It's like, well, I think it's more the way you say it.
Oh, that was
funny. And how he explains the reasoning behind wearing socks with sandals.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Oh, goodness.
That was really funny. All right, Slow Learners. What are you going to give this bad boy out of 10?
I'll give it like a 6.5.
6.5. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll give it a 7. Give it a 7, just for that first act. I just thought that was, and his parents were great. His mom was the weird daughter from 30 Rock. Did you?
Weird daughter.
Yeah, remember when NBC got taken over by that other company? And the owner of the other company had that strange daughter. She never talked, but she just did a lot of weird stuff.
I knew that. I recognized her from somewhere.
Yep, that was her. And I always forget the guy's name who plays his dad, but I love him in everything.
I know. Where the hell? Who is he?
He's in a lot of stuff. I've been seeing him for years, and I love everything that he's in.
Evan Dunn. Well, there was also Dead Tooth.
Yeah, Dead Tooth.
Which I feel bad, but I'm just always going to refer to her as Dead Tooth.
Well,
Which I felt bad because the whole movie, well, it was just two people. Because when Kate Flannery shows up, I'm just like, oh, Meredith.
mm-hmm.
And then when they show the other woman, I'm like, oh, Dead Tooth.
Yep.
Which is pretty much how I'm going to. Oh, True Detective. That's right. Kevin Dunn was True Detective.
Mm.
He was their superior in the first season.
Oh, yeah. And Reed Scott is in this, too. He plays Max, the neighbor, and he's kind of like the playboy neighbor, ladies' man. And he's from Veep, if you watch Veep, and he's really funny in Veep, too.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's all sorts of people. I don't know who they are. And now you're letting me know. I'm learning.
There you
That's
go.
what this show's all about. It's all
And,
about education.
Dead Tooth is Jason Reitman's sister.
Should we
Catherine.
like what? Okay.
Catherine Reitman.
I was gonna say maybe we should call her by a different name.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she is, I don't know if she still does, but she had her own little show on YouTube where she talked about movies and stuff.
Maureen Ponderosa.
I don't know if she still does that or not. But all right, so you're giving Slow Learners a 6.5.
Lock me in at 6.5.
I don't know I don't know if I said my score or not, but I'm gonna give it a 7. Oh yeah, I did say that. Sorry.
Pop that into your computer there.
No, I'm not. I don't record your scores.
Oh, fine. Whatever.
I don't record my scores either, except on Letterboxd, so you can check that out. Slow Learners, available now. Check it out. Definitely worth a look. If you're looking for a nice, fun, light comedy, worth a look.
Get on it.
All right, let's talk about some of what we've been watching. I don't remember if we started with you or me last week.
We started with me last week, so start it off.
All right, I saw the Final Girl. Now, last week when I talked about this movie, when we were going over the VOD list, I mentioned this and I said, "Oh, I kind of want to see that. It looks good." I was wrong because there's another horror movie coming out called The Final Girls.
Okay. Oh, I see what they did there.
This movie is called Final Girl, singular.
Oh, they tricked you.
So I go and I watch.
Is this an Asylum knockoff?
No, it's
Is that
not.
what they're doing?
It's.
Okay.
I kind of wish it was, actually. It might have been more fun to watch. So this movie, Final Girl, stars Abigail Breslin.
I like the way that you say Breslin.
Mm-hmm. I like saying it that way for some reason. I don't know.
It sounds like you got a bout of indigestion.
Yeah, it's like I'm bloated. Bloated.
Oh, jeez.
That was my favorite John Waters bit when he talks about the Baltimore people walking down the street and he overhears them talking about how she's bloated. I'm bloated. So Final Girl stars Abigail Breslin as this young girl who gets trained by Wes Bentley, who works for, I don't know if he works for the government or some organization that trains killers, and he trains her from the time that she's a little girl to be a killer for some reason. They never explain it. It's never explained.
So this is Hannah? Is that what you're talking?
No, it is a far cry from Hannah, trust me. So the movie, I think, takes place in the 50s or 60s. However, that's never discussed either, the time period. Everybody wears suits, and some of it takes place in this diner that looks very old. They all drive very old cars. All the girls in it wear, the dresses that are of that time. But I don't know, because there's a scene early on that takes place in a bar, and there is clearly behind the bar a computer set up, a POS system set up. And it's not like, oh, it snuck into the frame or whatever. It is prominently there. So if it's supposed to be more of a period piece, they failed, because it looks POS right there. So basically what happens is that the final test that Wes Bentley is giving her is that she has to dispatch of these guys who find it fun to pick up girls and put them out in the woods and hunt them and kill them.
Okay.
So she sets herself up to be caught by these guys and hunted, but as it turns out, she's the killer.
Oh shit. The
So
hunted
she
becomes the hunter becomes the hunted.
so she doses them with this kind of sodium pentothal and LSD or something to make them hallucinate, and it turns out that they hallucinate what their greatest fear is. It's basically fear toxin. She doses them
Oh
with fear toxin.
oh shit. So it's like Scarecrow mixed with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So most of the movie takes place in the forest and running through the forest, and the lighting of this movie is some of the most ridiculous, horrific lighting I have ever seen. It just looks like there's spotlights everywhere. There's
Okay.
no rhyme or reason. I don't know if it was meant to make it look stylish, but it just fails. It is so bad. I kind of want you to see this movie just so you can witness how horrific actually, you could probably see it in the trailer. I bet that you could see it in the trailer. One of the other guys also says this one line where he catches up with her and he goes, "Why are my friends tripping their balls off?" And with a line like that, I was like, how is this supposed to be in the 60s or the 50s even? With a line like that.
Yeah,
It's terrible. Yeah. It is a terrible movie. I cannot recommend it. Don't be like me and get it mixed up with The Final Girls, which is coming out, I think, in October, which actually does look interesting. Avoid Final Girl. It is bad. Abigail Breslin, sorry. She's not good in this.
I don't think she's that good in a lot of things, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree, actually.
Oh, I see that lighting.
Oh yeah, you see that?
I see that lighting.
I would show the trailer on the live stream here, but unfortunately, the reason that we're doing it the way we are is because we've been pretty much anytime you show clips from a movie, you get flagged for copyright. So
they're just in a couch in the woods.
yeah, yep.
And he pulls out like a wooden coin that says "die."
So that's So that's their truth or dare game that they play. And you have to pull something out of a bag, and it's so stupid.
And I take it they all just say "die."
I think the one of them says "get tied up."
I don't understand how you could, if you have a guy, Wes Bentley, who works for whoever, and he trains her from a very young age to be a killer, and then her task is to take out like a group of teenage boys. Wouldn't she just annihilate them?
Yeah, that was
because they're teenage boys that have no experience.
That was one of the that was one of the big questions I had early on, because at first it's like, okay, I get it. She's playing along with them, she's toying with them, but at some point she lets herself get tied up, first of all. And at that point it'd be like, okay, why doesn't she just kill them all right now?
Just kill them. Yeah, so, why do you have to play the game? I mean, obviously it's so we can have the movie, but just kill them before you even do the game.
It's this movie is please avoid it. This will be one of the worst of the year for me, for sure.
Ooh, that's not good. I saw one that slightly disappointed me, and it's mostly just based on who the director is, which is Maurice Pialat. And this is We Won't Grow Old Together from 1972. This is his second film. It's based on a novel that he wrote. And essentially what it is it's essentially autobiographical to a certain extent. And there's the main character is a film director. And he's married, has been, still is. But he's currently in a relationship with his mistress for 6 years. It's kind of coming to a close. And then the entire film which is close to like 2 hours, it's very episodic, just keeps jumping around. You never know when it is. And actually at the very beginning, it's kind of difficult to tell who this woman is. You're not necessarily sure of what's going on. You know, is it a mistress? Is it his wife? What is it? But what it is for essentially 2 hours is them breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together. Just over and over again.
That sounds like a lark.
Yeah, and his character is just pretty much an all-around terrible, terrible person. Just a complete asshole with ridiculous mutton chops. He's got the biggest mutton chops. I mean, they're
70s.
glorious. Yeah, I mean, you got to see these mutton chops. But I mean, they do a good job performance wise. Um, they are kind of the reason they keep you kind of riveted throughout. If you wouldn't, I mean, I'm kind of being generous with that term because the cinematography and everything else of this movie just it didn't work for me. There's just nothing. There's just nothing there to hold your interest. And once you go through like one breakup, reconciliation, and then another breakup, you're like, okay, I get it. But then we just keep going and going and going and over and over and over again. It's like, yeah, I get it. I get it. Can we do something else now? And I understand like the repetition is kind of the idea of what he's trying to discuss here, but it's just as a viewing experience, just did not work for me, really.
Hmm.
I'm sure it's probably a good novel. I think that it would work in a novel form, but as a film, it just doesn't work for me. And I tried to read because I got this on the Eureka Masters of Cinema series DVDs,
Okay.
and it's a great DVD. And it comes with because they're kind of like Criterion, and it comes with the essays and everything. So I'm not into it at all. Can't get into it. When I get to the end, I'm just like, wow, that was it's kind of like a manila folder, kind of like a nothing of a film. So I'm gonna read these essays and see if that gives me some insight into, maybe it'll help me out a little bit, give me some backstory, something, context. I don't know. They didn't help at all. And like as I'm reading it, and I'm reading, and I'm thinking, like, what you're writing about, like, what does this shit even mean? Like, you're just kind of describing the film. You're just describing scenes from the film to me, and you're not saying anything critical, really. Just I didn't understand the point of them. They didn't help. They didn't help at all.
That actually makes me think of something. Have there ever been movies that you've seen where after you see it, you're like, either you didn't like it or you're just like, oh, it was okay, or maybe you did like it, but then later you read an interview with the director or an essay or something like that where it made you appreciate the movie more, where you're just like, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, I mean
get
that
it now.
happens. That happens quite often with me, especially with movies from like the 50s, 60s, 70s, because I'm so far removed from when the movie came out that, you're missing a lot when you're watching movies from them. Like you have no idea of like the context of when the movie came out, what was the pulse of whatever nation that it was made in, what was happening, the political climate, those types of things. You have no idea what was going on outside of like, okay, like Vietnam was happening at this
Yeah,
point in time, or this is right after World War II. Okay, I mean, but that doesn't really help you that much.
yeah. I was just thinking of when I saw Ex Machina, and I like afterwards I liked the movie, and then I saw that Q&A with Alex Garland, and when he was kind of describing everything about like what he was going for and the themes that he was playing with and stuff, I was just like, holy shit, like I kind of have a better appreciation for this movie now because of that.
Gotcha, gotcha. I only really seem to do that with old movies, and it's mostly only because I have it right there. I have the DVD booklet,
Right, right.
and I'm like, well, I guess I get my money's worth. Might as well read these.
And also with older movies too, learning about how they actually shot certain scenes and stuff like that
Yeah,
is
and I mean
impressive.
most of this movie is just the two leads having conversations with each other in a car. And, you have the camera shooting through the windshield, and it's just them. Pretty much all their discussions take place in cars,
Hmm.
which is kind of to show the stagnation of the relationship and everything. Which okay, I mean it works. It's good. Like the thematic execution is on point. I understand why all the decisions that you're making. It just doesn't work. It's not that it's not that compelling, really.
All right. So that's We Won't Grow Old Together. Sounds like not really a recommend from you.
It's like I'm like middle of the road on that.
Okay. One that I give a light recommend to is The Boy. So this is, I think that it came out, did it come out on VOD this weekend? I think it did. It came out in select cities last weekend, I believe. So this is it's a horror film featuring Rainn Wilson,
Oh, okay.
another Office reference, and
Nice.
it's kind of about a young boy who he's 9 years old, and turns out that he's a sociopath. and it's kind of him descending into the role of a psychopath.
So it's like a coming of age film.
It is.
But he becomes of age as a psychopath.
Yeah, sort of.
That's an interesting premise.
A lot of people rightly compare this to Psycho, because the entire movie takes place in this rundown motel out in the middle of nowhere in the desert, and his dad runs the hotel or motel. Keep saying hotel. And a lot of the movie is just him kind of exploring and playing, and then things start to escalate. He starts killing animals, and by that point, things are not good. And I don't think that this is a spoiler or anything. He causes a car accident. What he does is he puts a bunch of garbage and animal feed in the middle of the road so that he lures a deer out into the middle of the road and then watches. And Rainn Wilson is driving a car that hits the deer, and he gets in an accident. So he ends up, because he totals his car, so he ends up having to stay at the motel for a little while. And there's a whole kind of side plot that happens there, and I really wish that they developed that more, because what happens with him and his character, it just kind of ends abruptly. And I know that it was deliberate the way that they did it, but I kind of wanted a little bit more with his character, because he plays a very interesting character, and this is definitely not a comedic role for Rainn Wilson.
Okay.
It's a very interesting movie. I definitely recommend it. The ending was a little bit... this is a very slow burn horror movie. This is a slow burn. So if you appreciate those types of horror movies, give it a look. For me, the ending was a little bit meh. It was not great for me. I guess the payoff just wasn't... I mean, it was a pretty big ending. It was something terrible happens, but I don't know. I guess I just wanted a little bit more with it.
A little more.
I still recommend it, though. It's called The Boy. Should be on VOD right now. This probably will go in my top 10 horror movies of the year.
Ooh, okay. I checked out Criterion. Dillinger is Dead from 1969, Marco Ferreri. And this is an interesting movie. It's been a while since this type of thing happened to me, where through much of the film, I want to say like 3/4 of it, I just wasn't into it. I just wasn't feeling it. I want this thing to end. I want to move on with my life. Let's get this over with. And then something happens, which just put everything into place. The entire series of images that precede what happens just all kind of fell into place and just made everything instantly better, which doesn't happen quite often. And the entire time, because what this movie is Michel Piccoli, the great Piccoli, plays a guy, comes home from work. He's a designer. He designs gas masks. So he comes home from work. His wife is in bed with a migraine headache type deal. There's food on a table downstairs for him. He doesn't want to have it. Doesn't look appetizing to him. So he decides to cook himself a meal. And essentially the movie is just this entire night of just him running around the house doing stuff. He's cooking dinner. He's watching TV. She's drinking wine. He's talking with the maid. He seduces the maid. And one of the things is that while he's looking for like utensils, kitchenware type stuff, he finds a gun wrapped up in a newspaper. So he spends a lot of time. It's an old-timey gun. It spends time, disassembles it, puts it together and everything, cleans it up, paints it red, puts little polka dots all over it. And so it's really tedious and monotonous for much of the runtime. It's just this guy running around the house, just trying to keep himself entertained. It's just, it's a bored guy with a gun. Bored guy with a gun. Which it's the entire time I couldn't help but compare it to Gene Dealman from Aquaman, because it's kind of the same thing, but hers is over a couple of days and it's really structured, very regimented. Camera's always still, where here it's just kind of frantic all over the place, which then of course makes me think of myself compared to my wife, because she's really regimented and I'm just a mess, scatterbrained, ADHD type thing. So it's one of those movies that you got to hang in there because the payoff is going to get you, and it's gonna put everything into place for you.
I'm actually interested in this. This looks
because
interesting to me.
Much of the time you're just like, what are we trying to say? What is the point of this? Because you kind of make points at the beginning with him at the gas mask factory type thing, and they're discussing gas masks and stuff, and some of the stuff that they say, the dialogue in the beginning, you're like, okay, so this has to do with something. But then when you're watching them, for the next like hour or so, you're just like, what does any of this have to tie in? Like, what are we doing? What's the point of this?
Mm-hmm.
And then finally something happens, and it kind of comes together for you. It's different, man. There's not a lot of films that I can think of that are like this.
Interesting. How did you see this one?
I saw this on Hulu Plus.
Okay. So it's on the Criterion selection on Hulu Plus. Dillinger is Dead. I think I'm going to have to check that one out. I
recommend it.
I saw another horror movie that involves children, and that's Goodnight Mommy.
Oh, you dick.
This is an Austrian horror film. It's not out yet. Comes out September 11th. However, I don't think that I'm under embargo, so let's roll the dice and talk about it. This is a really interesting one. It's about two twin boys that they live kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Super nice house. Their mom is she's a TV star, and she's somewhat famous, so they're fairly wealthy. There is an accident, and she comes back from the hospital after getting surgery and recovering, and her face is all bandaged up, and the two brothers start to believe that maybe this isn't their mom. Maybe that this is an imposter. Someone else has infiltrated their home and is pretending to be their mom. So, for the most part, I liked it. It goes... There's some tropes in this. It falls for some tropes that actually kind of worked for me. And normally the specific trope that they use, I think is completely played out and no longer want anything to do with. However, for some reason, it worked for me. And this is this is a slow burn movie, very creepy, kind of atmospheric. And it definitely goes places that I did not expect. It is unsettling at times. I'm trying to tiptoe around a lot of things because I don't want to give too much away.
There's cockroaches.
Yeah.
There's cockroaches.
Someone
eats a cockroach.
Yeah, there are a lot of cockroaches.
And then it looks like cockroaches come out of someone's stomach.
They have a cockroach tank.
Why?
They keep cockroaches as pets, like a lot of cockroaches.
Why though?
I have no idea.
Like, who would ever do that?
That's just their thing. That's just what these kids do. They're kind of messed up.
These
Not
kids
gonna
are
lie.
terrible.
These kids are kind of messed up. So throughout the whole movie, you're just kind of wondering, where's this going to go? Is this really their mom? Is it an imposter? If it is an imposter, who is it? What's her goal? What's she doing? And how's this all going to play out? One thing that you can be certain of is that it does not end well. And that's something that you can pretty much assume from the beginning.
But yeah, I mean, it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if it was like a happy ending. And it turned out it was their mom, and she's just a wonderful person.
Yeah.
And their lives are great.
I recommend it. I think that it looks gorgeous. A lot of people are comparing it to Haneke, which I can see that.
Yeah, even from the trailer, it kind of has that. Isn't it produced by York Seidel?
Yeah, I believe it is. I believe it is. Yeah, I think it is. So
when that clean clinical feel to it.
Yes, it does. Very, very much so. A lot of static shots set up in rooms. The house that they live in is like it's very clean. It's very minimalist, immaculately set up. Not a lot of clutter and stuff like that. So I do recommend this one. Again, it comes out September 11th, so check it out. I think that it's hitting VOD around that time. But when it does, I absolutely recommend it. This will certainly go on my top 10 horror movies of the year as well. So, Goodnight Mommy. Keep a lookout for it. Add it to your watch list.
Just add it on there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Get it on there. I did a rewatch. You know how odd it is for me to do a rewatch?
Probably.
Don't do it often.
I
Don't do it
hardly
often.
ever at this point I never rewatch things. Hardly
I,
ever.
I rarely ever rewatch something. But recently, Sabbatical was, you can watch that on Vimeo now for free.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Saw a
So,
tweet about that.
yeah, popped up on there, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to do a rewatch of that. I quite enjoyed that. I want to see, because it's one of those movies that, back when we talked about it, I was I think like a 7.5. And I was kind of like, yeah, this is pretty good. I enjoy this. But it's one of those that like really, really grew with me over
Well,
time. Like it stuck with me for a long time.
it was on
And I
your
just
mid-year
kept
top 10, right?
yeah, and
Yeah.
and that's mostly what like initially I wasn't that big on it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's one of those that over time it just stuck with me and it kind of grew with me. So then that was kind of the thing that I wanted to check out here is was that just because I was detached from the viewing experience
Right.
and I
Yeah.
was able to think it and kind of build it up in my own mind, making it better than how I actually remembered it. So go back, revisit it, see how I like it. Yeah, I liked it even more second time around.
Nice. I
So,
actually did the same thing with Mad Max Fury Road because that's available on VOD right now.
oh shit.
So I wanted to get like the highest definition possible, super HD ultra version.
Oh
See
shit.
what it looked like in a home environment. And yeah, well, it wasn't as impressive as the theater, but I still loved it. So yeah. Sabbatical, check that out.
It's
Solid
for
long
free.
street.
It's free. Oh, solid long street. Kidding me? And it's sad. It's a bummer because on looking on and now I know this isn't like the best way to gauge a film, but on Letterboxd, I think it's only been viewed by like 30 people.
Yeah, it sucks.
It's free. It's free. I'll say it
Check
again. It's free.
check it out on Vimeo.
Get it?
Sabbatical is the name. The only other one I saw was American Ultra.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I gave this a watch. This one didn't work for me. It's it's like the Bourne movies mixed with Pineapple Express, and that just doesn't. It just as an action film, it didn't work. As a comedy, it didn't work because for me the action was pretty bland, and I felt like the shaky cam was a little bit too much in it, and a lot of the action scenes you see in the trailer. I think that there might be one action scene that you don't see pretty much the whole thing in the trailer. And the comedy, I don't know if I think I laughed maybe once or twice at a couple of throwaway lines, but the problem is the characters are just boring. They're just boring characters. Jesse Eisenberg and Kristen Stewart, while I like them both as actors, their characters in this movie they didn't bring anything to the table. They weren't particularly funny or goofy or anything. They were just blank slates, these characters. So I had really no emotional investment in any of the characters at all. I think the most emotive character was Topher Grace, and he was the bad guy. And because he was like a complete dick the whole time. And yeah, I just no, not into this one. Not into it.
Is it because he smokes so much
Well,
weed that he
okay.
forgot that he's a government agent?
No. He was like deactivated. So it was this whole Manchurian Candidate type thing going on. But that's the other thing that didn't really work. The fact that this is billed as a stoner comedy. It's a weed comedy, but there's not that much weed smoking going on. And I think it's the first scene of the movie they show Kristen Stewart taking a bong hit, ripping the bong,
Oh
and
yeah.
the smoke that comes out of her mouth is all CG, and it looks so bad. I'm just like, oh no, this is not boding well. Lots of CG blood and violence in this one too, which didn't look great.
Yeah, this
So
looks terrible.
yeah, this is a pass from me. We have a review for this up on the site. I didn't review it. Blake did. He gave it a 4 out of 10, and I'm actually sitting with him on the 4 spectrum.
I do
So
like seeing that John Leguizamo's in it. Is
John
he good?
Leguizamo is not good in it. Not
Oh,
because he's bad, but just the character he's playing. He's playing this kind of stereotypical Mexican gangster type
yeah, okay.
person, and he's doing this weird voice the whole time, where he's this thugged out gangster style voice that's kind of like high pitched. And you know what he reminded me of, actually? Oh, you didn't see Ant-Man. Never mind. He reminded me of Michael Pena in Ant-Man, where he's kind of playing a cartoony character.
Gotcha.
Yeah, American Ultra which is odd because this is the highest reviewed movie of the weekend, and it did the worst out of all of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Which is odd because I did not hear anything good about American Ultra.
Well, when we're going to get to that in just a second, but comparing it to the other two that came out, this is probably much better.
What were the other ones that came out?
Well, let's just go ahead and jump into some predictions then. So, Hitman, Agent 47. I predicted 32. You predicted 26 on this one. Actual 7.
Oof.
That's a 7. And Sinister 2, I said 36. You said 41. Actual 12.
Wow.
Yeah, 12. American Ultra, I said 62. You said 58. Actual 45.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, not a great weekend, honestly.
Which, again, let me point out, you could have stayed home and watched Sabbatical for free.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, people.
Next week. This is a really weird week next week because I'm not sure that there's anything wide release coming out. I think there might be one, and that's No Escape, the one with Owen Wilson.
Is next weekend Labor Day weekend?
I think that's why, because there's nothing coming out next weekend. So let's just, I don't know if No Escape is getting a wide release, but let's go ahead and predict it anyway. What are you thinking on this one? Have you seen anything about this?
No, I have not. No Escape. So we got the generic title going.
And don't get it confused with the classic Ray Liotta film where he's on a prison island.
No, this is the one with Lake Bell, Pierce Brosnan, and Owen Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Where they're like, Owen Wilson gets transferred in his job to some foreign country where there's like a coup that takes place, and they get caught up in it.
Oh man.
You want to get caught up in a coup?
Never want to get caught up in a coup, especially if you're not from that country.
What are you thinking on No Escape?
Oh, No Escape. I'm thinking 30.
I'm going to say 36 on that one. That's really all we have as far as anything remotely big coming out next week. So let's just, for the hell of it, predict Queen of Earth, since that comes out too. I know it's not getting a wide release, but let's just do it. Let's just go for it. Queen of Earth. I'm gonna say 86 on Queen of Earth.
Oof. I'm gonna say 82.
All right. Next week in limited release we have Turbo Kid. I'm actually really excited for Turbo Kid. I saw Now, what they do with the ABCs of Death movies, what they did with the first two, they had a contest for one of the letters, and people could submit their own shorts, and one of those shorts got picked to be in the actual movie. And one of the ones submitted, it didn't win, but what they did was they released all of the entries online so that you could watch all of them anyway. And one that it didn't win, but it was probably, in my opinion, the best one was T is for Turbo. And they actually developed that into a feature-length film. So we have Turbo Kid coming out, and it's this 80s throwback exploitation style horror film. It looks amazing. It takes place in like a post-apocalyptic world where this kid runs around on his BMX bike and has to take down like a leader of some gang or something. It looks amazing. I cannot wait to see it. We also have We Are Your Friends, which is that might be getting a wide release. I'm not sure. That's the one with Zac Efron about he's like a DJ. He's an EDM DJ.
Oh Jesus!
I'm surprised we haven't been.
What's this called?
We Are Your Friends.
We are. Oh, Wes Bentley too.
And Wes Bentley plays this kind of famous DJ who takes Zac Efron under his wing or something.
Oh shit! And it's got a forbidden romance in there.
Oh boy.
Oh man, are you serious?
Let's see. We have Zipper with I think Patrick Wilson is in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I really actually don't know anything about that. Z for Zachariah. That's the post-apocalyptic drama.
Which kind of doesn't seem like the timing on that one's bad. Like they missed their opportunity with this one.
I feel like they did, but I heard good things about it. So
I know I mean, same here, but it's like I think they would have been much better if that came out a little bit earlier.
it's Craig Zobel, right?
Mhm.
Compliance. Yeah.
Margot Robbie, Chris Pine.
I'm interested in it. I think it. I mean, I'll check it out.
Chitwell?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said his name?
Yeah. Also have Seven Chinese Brothers, the Jason Schwartzman comedy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, every time I see the trailer, I haven't seen this yet. I'm still sitting on the screener, but the every time I see the trailer for it, I just can't control myself. I think it's so funny. Just how weird he is in that movie.
You might like, I mean, again, it's one of those things that it's kind of funny. Kind of funny. There's a great bit between Schwartzman and Alex Ross Perry.
I'll be watching
fantastic.
it. I'll be watching it this week, so we'll see.
Plus, just to see all the familiar faces pop up.
Actually, we'll probably be reviewing that next week.
Oh, okay.
So we'll
Sounds
see.
good.
We also have When Animals Dream, Drown, and Pod, or as I like to call it, POD.
POD. It's good to know I'm not the only one.
Yeah. Next week on VOD, we have Digging for Fire. That's probably the other one we'll end up reviewing, the new Swanberg joint. Baby Girl. Actually, I don't know too much about that one. Seven Chinese Brothers, POD, and Zipper.
Is it actually POD or
No, it's Pod. It's Pod,
Okay.
but when I see it, I think POD.
I know, but you keep throwing me like, oh, now there's actually is another movie called POD.
Next week on Blu-ray, got a number of decent releases here. The Last American Virgin, Student Bodies is coming out. I don't know. That might be a Scream Factory release? It looks like it. I'll probably pick that one up. Citizen 4, Big Game. I recommend both of those. Aloha. Ugh, heard that one was
No.
no.
Thank you.
Let's see what else. Jacob's Ladder is getting a Blu-ray release.
Nice.
I never saw that movie.
Me either.
I saw
think
parts
it's
of
about
it.
time, maybe.
but- Yeah, could be. Skin Trade featuring Dolph Lundgren and Tony Jaa.
Oh shit, that sounds intense.
It sounds like there's going to be some strong acting
It sounds intense.
in that movie. Welcome to New York, the Abel Ferrara one that we reviewed a long time ago.
Yeah.
Looks like Rambo's getting a re-release on Blu-ray. The Rambo series,
nice.
First Blood Part 2 and Rambo 3.
Oh snap.
Iris. Let's see what else we got. A bunch of Walking Dead stuff is coming out. The 3rd season. And that's pretty much it.
All of it?
Pretty much it. Nocturnal Activity. Whatever that is.
What's that mean?
I don't know.
Stuff happening at night? That's it?
I guess. The World According to Garp is getting a Blu-ray release.
Okay.
Oh, and Easy Money starring Rodney Dangerfield and Men at Work starring Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez, double feature Blu-ray.
Oh my god. Nice.
Also, Vampire Hunter D is getting a Blu-ray release. I used to love that movie.
We have one Criterion making its way to all of you. That is 2 days, 1 night
I bet
from
you're
the Dardeens.
Bet you're excited for that one.
Yeah. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't. People love the Dardeens, and I just don't know what it is. I don't understand.
I thought you were all about that movie.
No, I didn't like that movie. I wanted to see it because I wanted to give the Dardeens another chance, but But and that's I always get sucked in because there's just so much critical praise for the Dardeens, and they win, ridiculous amounts of awards, and everyone just loses their shit about their movies. And it's like, damn, I gotta check this out. And I'm always when I'm done with the film, my first thing out of my mouth is, what the fuck? What am I missing? Because I see nothing here that warrants any type of praise and especially not the amount that they get.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just it really, and then it ticks me off even more that there's so much praise and buzz and press for their stuff when the American indie scene puts out far more interesting films than this. And, nothing. Just dead silence, crickets.
That is unfortunate.
It just pisses me off a little bit.
I feel like the American indie market is so strong right now, and
they're
it's just
doing
not...
much more. I mean, the work that's coming out between like Sabbatical or Stinking Heaven, movies like that they're interesting. It's something different happening. Wherein the Dardeens is just the same thing every time, but as soon as it comes out, oh my God, Dardeens! Give them all the awards that ever existed.
Put them out on Criterion.
Put them out on Criterion. Oh my God. Just like it's a woman that goes around door to door saying, give me my job back. And it's cliched as all hell. Like all the people that her co-workers that she has to talk to. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Fuck that movie.
All right. Well, I think we'll end on that note.
And what the fuck, the Dardeens.
Send us your questions. podcast@filmpulse.net is the address. Follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. And please take a look at our Patreon page, patreon.com/FilmPulse, and consider subscribing for as little as $1 per month. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson, and we will see you on Thursday for Ryan Watches a Movie.